Hello, everybody. It is me, Sacred G, and welcome back to another Fallout New Vegas video, partner! Today we're going to be talking about Goodsprings and the evil that has made its way into Goodsprings. So, without further ado, ladies and gents, I hope you're as excited as I am to dive into Goodsprings, and welcome.
You got what you were after, so pay up.
You're crying in the rain, Pally.
Guess who's waking up over here?
Time to cash out.
Will you get it over with?
Maybe cons kill people without looking them in the face. But I ain't a fink. Dig? You've made your last delivery, kid. Sorry you got twisted up in this scene. From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.
So after getting shot in the fucking head, you wake up in a old man's home. No, you wake up at Doc Mitchell's, and this is what he's got to say, and he pretty much tells you how long you've been out, and how the process worked, and how he saved you, and all this stuff. So let Doc Mitchell take it away. Take it away, Mitch.
You're awake. How about that? Whoa, easy there, easy. You've been out cold a couple of days now. Why don't you just relax a second? Get your bearings. Let's see what the damage is. How about your name? Can you tell me your name?
So after editing and creating your character's facial features, you are now brought into the character sheet, or the stat sheet.
Well, I got most of it right anyway. Stuff that mattered. Okay. No sense keeping you in bed anymore. Let's see if we can get you on your feet. Good. Why don't you walk down to the end of the room, over by that vigor tester machine there. Take it slow now. It ain't a race.
Where you choose your special stats, and then Doc Mitchell, of course, gives you the psychic evaluation.
All right. I'm gonna say a word. I want you to say the first thing that comes to mind. Dog. House. Night. Bandit. Light. Mother. Sometimes when you give tests like this, you learn more than you was hoping for, and I reckon that ain't always the best thing. But I guess maybe it explains a thing or two about your predicament. Okay, now I got a few statements. I want you to tell me how much they sound like something you'd say. First one, conflict just ain't in my nature. I ain't given to relying on others for support. I'm always fixin' to be the center of attention. I'm slow to embrace new ideas. I charge in to deal with my problems head on. Almost done here. What do you say you have a look at this? Tell me what you see. Okay, how about this one? Last one. Well, that's all she wrote. I don't have nothing to compare it to, so maybe you'd better just have a look at the results. See if it all seems right to you.
After that's all said and done, you choose your skills and your traits. You are free to talk to Doc Mitchell, where he gives you a Vault 21 jumpsuit and kind of gives you a synopsis of what happened.
Here, these are yours. Was all you had on you when you was brought in. I hope you don't mind, but I gave the note a look. I thought it might help me find a next of kin. But it was just something about a platinum chip. Well, if you're heading back out there, you ought to have this. They call it a Pip-Boy. I grew up in one of them vaults they made before the war. We all got one. Ain't much use to be now, but you might want such a thing after what you've been through. I know what it's like having something taken from you. And put this on too, so the locals don't pick on you for lacking modesty. Was my wife's. I think she was about your size, and she hardly wore it after we left the vault. Felt it was too brazen. Don't mention it. It's what I'm here for. You should talk to Sunny Smiles before you leave town. She can help you learn to fend for yourself in the desert. She'll likely be at the saloon. I reckon some of the other folks at the saloon might be able to help you out too, and the metal fella, Victor, who pulled you out of your grave. Anyway, you ever get hurt out there, you come right back. I'll fix you up. But try not to get killed anymore.
After leaving the Mitch's house, you are greeted by a bright white light, which then fades away into this brown, bleak, and very desperate wasteland, which is the setting for the game. And it is, in my own opinion, one of the second best intros in a Fallout game besides Fallout 3 and 4. And then, whoa. There's a robot rolling through town. Let's go talk to him. Let's see what he knows.
Howdy, partner. Might I say you're looking fit as a fiddle? Can't say that I'm familiar with the rascals. Some of the fine folks in town might be able to help you out with that. I was out for a stroll that night when I heard the commotion up the old bone orchard. Saw what looked like a bunch of bad eggs, so I laid low. Once they'd run off, I dug you up to see if you were still kicking. Turns out you were, so I hauled you off to the dock right quick. Don't mention it. I'm always ready to lend a helping hand to a stranger in need. I'm a Securitron. Robco Security Model 2060B. If you ever see any of my brothers, tell them Victor says howdy. I moseyed into town, 10, 15 years ago. Before that, I can't quite seem to recall. Odd. Anyway, it's a right peaceful town, and I reckon it's as fine a place to settle as any.
After talking to the robot, and before we head to the saloon to talk to Sunny Smiles, the person that Mitch suggested we talk to, we're going to stop by the general goods store and see who we can talk to inside and ask for details on what the fuck happened. Where's this asshole? I want my fucking chip back. I want it back right now. Let's go see.
You must be the one Doc Mitchell was patching up. The way I heard it, I didn't think you'd be walking out of that office. I've got plenty of supplies for sale. Even got some weapon mods and special ammo. Well worth the caps if you ask me. If you're hurting for caps, I've also got boxes of surplus ammo in the miscellaneous section. They're not great, but you get what you pay for. Weapon mods are things like silencers, scopes, bigger magazines. Special ammo includes things like armor-piercing bullets, which don't hurt the target as much, but let you punch through armor easier. There's also hollow point bullets, which have the opposite effect. You can kill unarmored targets easier, but they don't do shit against armor. The leader was a New Vegas type. Typical city boy. He had a bunch of Great Khans with him, probably hired guns. The Great Khans normally stay in their own territory way up northwest, on account of them being enemies with the NCR. It's all about quantity over quality. Trouble is, you'll be cleaning and fixing your gun a lot more than usual when you use those kind of bullets. Twice. Both times I drank a lot of liquor and lost most of my caps at the card tables. In that order, now that I think about it. If you ever get to New Vegas, be sure to visit Gomorrah. It's the best casino in the city. You won't regret it. Word of advice, behave. Between the NCR military police and Mr. House's robots, you don't want to be causing trouble on the Strip. I'm afraid I don't know much myself. Mr. House has got his own casino, Lucky 38, but nobody goes in or out except his robots. The other casinos follow Mr. House's rules, so I guess that makes him the leader of New Vegas. As far as I know, nobody's ever laid eyes on the guy. I think that robot who pulled you out of the dirt belongs to Mr. House. If Mr. House is looking after you, it's got to be a good thing, right? They're tough sons of bitches. Mean, but not crazy. They'll leave you alone unless you got something they want. The Great Khans deal in illegal chems. There's a good chance that most chems you come across were made by Great Khans.
Now we leave Chet's little shop here, and we're gonna make our way to the Prospector Saloon. Now on the porch, who's this we see here? He's an old man? Let's go see what this old man has to say. Hey there, Pop.
Howdy. What can Easy Pete do for you? Was a prospector until I decided to settle here to get away from the NCR. Now we'll just take it easy and help out with the Brahmin and Bighorners. Nah. Means I poke through old buildings looking for working tech and such. Some folks just call it salvaging, but never liked the term. Way I see it, salvage means it's broken, near worthless. Me, I look for the good stuff. Guns, chems, spare parts. Good money in it. Nope. Had a pretty good claim once, way out east by the river, but got run off by raiders. Eventually got too old to keep going out. The one in the fancy suit seemed to be calling the shots. That's as much as I know. Other folks in town might know more. Word of advice, though, if you ever catch up with him, watch out. The man's got cold eyes like a snake. Can't be trusted, I'd say. Don't get me wrong. The NCR's got a lot of decent folk in it. It's just that they make you part of them whether you like it or not. Towns like Goodsprings and Primm don't stay independent for long. Not if you've got something the NCR wants. Still, the NCR keeps the Legion away. They're slavers, led by a guy named Caesar, or Caesar. Not sure how you're supposed to say it. A couple of years ago, they tried to take over Hoover Dam, but the NCR beat them back. The NCR didn't or couldn't finish the job, though. The Legion's got its strength back and is getting ready for another round at the dam. My money's still on the NCR winning, but you never know. We've been hearing stories about legionaries on the Nevada side of the river, so keep a gun handy. You don't want to get caught by them. The dam powers a lot of New Vegas, and then there's all that clean water lying in Lake Mead, too. Anybody who owns the dam owns the territory. Meat and hide, mostly. Can't put a pack on them. They just lay down until you take it off. Can find a bunch of wild ones high up in the hills, but gotta be careful around them. They can put up a decent fight if cornered. The machine? Harmless, no matter what Trudy says. She thinks it's hiding something, but I think it's just a broken-down relic with no place to be.
After getting to know Easy Pete and his old prospecting days, and a bit about the NCR and the Legion, And also to know that the checkered suit motherfucker, or that asshole is what I'm going to refer to him as, Desaad is the one calling the shots and had some great cons with him, as we saw in the cutscene before. So now we go into the Prospector Saloon, where we get to be introduced to the tutorial sequence. Or, the immersive way to say this is to ask Sonny to help us fend for ourselves in the desert, just to check to make sure that we can actually properly shoot a gun.
Cheyenne, stay. Don't worry, she won't bite unless I tell her to. Yeah, I guess there's a thing or two I could show you. Sounds like you need all the help you can get after what they done to you. Meet me outside, behind the saloon.
After we are done shooting our gun, guess what happens? We are asked to continue the tutorial, or I mean, Sonny asks us to come with her to hunt a few geckos. Why don't we go help her with that? That sounds like a lot of fun.
That's the right idea. Look down the sight. Try crouching down and staying still. It'll help your aim. Well, that's a start. But I don't reckon you came to me to learn to fight sarsaparilla bottles. Tell you what, I gotta go chase geckos away from our water supply anyway. Darn critters are attracted to it. Why don't you come along? Follow me. It's just down to the southeast a short ways. Hear that up on the ridge behind me there? We got some geckos to clear out. Bunch of little monsters is what they are. Seems like Doc Mitchell treats more gecko bites than anything else. Let's see if we can get a little closer. If we move quietly, we can get the jump on them. More likely to hit something vital that way. Okay, you're on. Go give him hell. Oh, that's it. See? You're getting the hang of it. There's 2 more wells that still need clearing. You want, you can come along. It'd be worth a few caps to me. Shouldn't take more than a couple minutes, especially with 2 of us. Come with me. There's too many! Holy moly. If you hadn't come here like you done, I'd be a goner for sure. I came up here to draw water, but here, you should have what I got. You look thirsty. Now that was some good work. Even got a little exciting there at the end. Here's a little spending money for the trouble. One more thing I wanted to show you. Thought I might teach you about living off the land and making useful things for yourself. Interested? Okay, say no more. I'm heading back now. Hope I didn't miss anything good on the jukebox. Cheyenne would never forgive me. Hey, do me a favor. Trudy, she's the bartender up at the Prospector. Kind of the town mom. She likes to meet newcomers. She'd be cross with me if I didn't ask you to poke your head in and say hi.
After helping Sonny Smiles and or the resident that gets attacked by the geckos, and then we talk to Sonny afterwards, she reminds or tells us that, well, the bartender, we should go up and talk to her, so let's double back to the Prospector Saloon and see what she has to say. As we make our way inside the Prospector Saloon, we will stumble upon Trudy and a man in a heated confrontation or argument, whatever word you decide to use with this, but we see Trudy arguing with somebody, so let's hear what the argument's all about.
I'm done being nice. If you don't hand Ringo over soon, I'm going to get my friends and we're burning this town to the ground. Got it?
We'll keep that in mind. Now, if you're not gonna buy something, get out.
So after you're done listening to that argument, Trudy does have some words to say to us. So let's figure out what the hell happened to us, and also, what was the argument about? Who was that?
Hey. Well, you've been causing quite a stir. Glad I finally got to meet you. Welcome to the Prospector Saloon. Looks like our little town got itself dragged into the middle of something we don't want anything to do with. About a week ago, this trader, Ringo, comes into town. Survivor of an attack, he says. Bad men after him. Needs a place to hide. We figured he was just in shock, so we gave him a place to lie low. We didn't actually expect anyone to come after him. He's holed up at the abandoned gas station up the hill. Some of the others, like Sonny, will probably stand up for Ringo if he asks for help, which he hasn't. Personally, I hope he sneaks out of town one night and takes the powder gangers with him. Chain gangs, really. The NCR brought them in from California to work on the rail lines. Problem is, it turns out that giving convicts a bunch of dynamite and blasting powder isn't the best idea. It was a big escape not too long ago. Some of them stuck together so they could make trouble. That's what we're dealing with now. Alright. He's a convict, just without the chains. Said his name was Cobb. Powder gangers is what they call themselves. Plenty more like him out there. I know that thing as much as anyone else around here. It mostly keeps to itself, which is just fine by me. It acts friendly enough, but I don't trust that whole cheerful cowboy act. I find it all very creepy. Other than rolling around once in a while, it doesn't do anything useful as far as I can tell. I don't know why it took an interest in you, but I'd be careful. It's never helped anyone before. It was here when I took over the saloon 7 years ago. Some people have said its owner lived here, but no one knows who it was. Fine by me. If you were able to get Ringo out of this mess, you'd have a decent reputation around Goodsprings. I'd even set you up with a discount. Of course, helping Ringo would also make the powder gangers mad, and they've got a lot of friends out there. Don't know why you'd want to do a thing like that. Yep, you'd get on their good side, but people around here wouldn't appreciate it one bit. Mostly traders looking to buy bighorn or meat and hides. The traders are the main reason the general store manages to stay in business. Most travelers heading south on the I-15 just push on towards Primm, unless they're in desperate need of supplies. There's always something interesting going on, but the biggest news has to be the coming dust-up between the NCR and the Legion over the dam. The new California Republic's got the most power in Nevada. Money, troops, you name it. They do what they can to keep things safe in the region, but if you ask me, they're trying to do too much. They're spread too thin. Slavers, killers, and all other kinds of trouble. They dress up like Roman soldiers, so there's no mistaking it when you see them. The rumor is that the Legion is far larger than the NCR lets on, and that it's been due to luck that the Legion hasn't overrun the territory. Not much, other than they're a bunch of freeloaders who expected a few rounds on the house. I was able to get them to pay up, though. Of course, one of the great cons did knock my radio to the floor, by accident, and it hasn't been working since. They were having some kind of argument about it, but the guy in the checkered coat kept shushing them. Sounded like they came in from the north through Quarry Junction. If that's the case, I can't say I blame them for not wanting to go back. That whole area is overrun with the kind of critters that just get mad if you shoot them. Merchants avoid that whole stretch of I-15 like it's radioactive, which it could be for all I know. I didn't hear exactly, but the leader was talking about the Strip. Fella wants to get there and avoid the 15, he'd have to go east. Take Highway 93 up. I'm pretty sure the NCR wants to hold on to the dam because it's one of the few places around that can make electricity. The Legion are a bunch of savages, though. No idea why they'd want the dam. Probably plan on destroying it or something.
Now, after talking with Trudy, and you find out that the town's having a little bit of a quarrel, and, you know, the Great Khans broke her radio, which you can choose to help her fix, we are now going to go check up on Joe Cobb, because Joe Cobb, the man she was arguing with, has some interesting things to say. So let's go see what this motherfucker has to say.
What do you want? He's some traitor who decided he'd rather shoot than pay the toll for being in our territory. He's hiding somewhere in town. Would serve these idiots right if me and my guys shot the place up after we got payback on Ringo. It is now. Me and the rest of the guys busted out of the NCR prison east of here and took over. Now we're calling the shots. None of your damn business. You ought to know better than to ask a man that kind of question. Robbed some people, burned some things, killed a few guys. Same old shit that's been going on for years. The NCR and Legion are still fighting over Hoover Dam for some reason. Never been there since the NCR's got troops all over it. Must be pretty important. I've run with some tough gangs, but I gotta admit, they all got nothing on the Legion. I hear they stick you up on poles and it takes a while to die. I ain't saying I'm afraid of them or nothing, but I'll be staying out of their way. New California Republic. Nothing new about it. Just a bunch of people with money and power pushing everyone else around. They've got troops all over the Mojave, but it's a big desert, so it's pretty easy to avoid them if you want. What the hell for? Just farmers and ranchers out here. Not much worth stealing. Having all the food we want ain't a bad idea, actually. Getting sick of eating prison rations. First things first, though. You go settle things with Ringo and put a bullet between his eyes while I round up my crew and let them in on the plan. There are too many places to hide around here. He'd seen me coming and then bam, I'm dead. He doesn't know you, though. He probably won't shoot right away. While you're doing that, I'll be here waiting for my friends. Join up with us once you're done.
Powder gangers, huh? So they just escaped the prison for the NCRCF. Actually, I believe a couple days after the events of the game takes place. I could be mistaken on that. This guy's angry. Very angry. And I get it, you know, there's a moral, actually, obligation here that you could really think about, which is kind of fun. I was just thinking about this. Is it right for Ringo to shoot them? I mean, they weren't shooting at him. I'm pretty sure they asked him for a toll. And maybe we could say Ringo probably didn't have the caps or enough money to even pay their toll, so I don't know. I mean, these people are trying to survive, and I'm not trying to excuse the Powder Gangers. I have a hard time siding with them to take over the town. And, I mean, the only option this person wants to give to get back at Ringo is to wipe out an entire town. I understand that you, the character, suggested you do that, but he is all for it. He even threatened Trudy with it, so I don't know. Joe Cobb seems pretty fucking evil, and a lot of the Powder Gangers, too, are very violent criminals. But of course, you can side with them, which is very cool. Now let's go see what Ringo is up to and his side on this whole story.
That's close enough. Who are you, and what do you want with me? Sorry about the gun. You just caught me off guard, that's all. We got off to a bad start. Let's say we start over with a friendly game of Caravan. You know how to play? Yeah. He doesn't look very tough, though. I hear he's afraid I'll shoot him down from one of the windows when I see him. And he's right. I'll have a much bigger problem once his friends show up. There's no way I could handle all of them in a gunfight. I'm gonna lay low for as long as I can, assuming the town doesn't throw me to the wolves. I've got no chance against the gang on my own. All I've got left on me are a handful of caps, but you get me out of this and I'll make sure the Crimson Caravan pays you back. You've got my word. We just end up sharing the same grave if it's just the two of us. Now, if some of the other people in town were also on board... I was thinking of myself, actually. Who's gonna watch my back while I'm watching yours? Start with Sunny Smiles. She's been friendlier than most around here.
So now back to Sunny Smiles, here we come. So Ringo suggests we go talk to her since she's been the most friendly in town. And so now let's double back to the Prospector's Saloon. Maybe pick up a drink or two while we're there. Man, that's making me thirsty. The weather is pretty hot.
Hi there. Sticking around Good Springs for a while longer? Say no more. I'm in. Joe Cobb talks about leaving us alone if we hand over Ringo. But I know his type. He and his friends will come after the town eventually. However, between you, me, and Ringo, we aren't exactly a force to be reckoned with. A lot of people around here look up to Trudy. If you could convince Trudy to join us, some of the folks in town might decide to help out as well. I know Easy Pete's got a stock of dynamite somewhere, and Chet just got a shipment of leather armor we could borrow. Talk to them as well. Finally, there's a good chance we'll all end up with extra holes in us. So if Doc Mitchell could cough up some extra stim packs, that'd be great. I don't think give is in Chet's vocabulary. Even with the town at stake, he'd still make you barter with him. Easy Pete's pretty protective of his dynamite. You'd have to convince him you know a thing or two about explosives before you handed it over. I'll be waiting.
So after talking to Sunny Smiles and learning how stingy Chet is about his store, she prompts that we talk to Trudy, convince her to help us fight the Powder Gangers so she could convince other people in the town since she's considered to be the town mom. And so now we are taking on the Powder Gangers. Fuck you, Joe Cobb. I ain't joining your bullshit.
So you're planning on taking on Joe Cobb's gang. It's a big risk, but I suppose you have to do what you think is right. I was planning on sitting this one out, but for some reason, I can't help but like you. I'm with you. Let me have a word with a few other folks, and I'll see if I can't round up some more members for this militia you're creating. While everyone does own a gun, we could stand to be a little better equipped. The general store probably has what we need in stock. Be careful out there.
You looking to buy some supplies? Now just hold on. I never voted to take on the Powder Gangers. That's a 1,000-cap investment you're talking about. You made your point. I can provide people with some leather armor and extra ammo. Sure hope it's worth it. And I'll be guarding the store while all this is going on. I have to put my business first. You understand. If Ringo doesn't head out on his own, I think we should hand him over. Town shouldn't get itself mixed into the problem. Don't mistake that for coward talk, though. We're a town of survivors. We'll fight tooth and nail if pushed, but we don't go looking for trouble. Take it easy now.
Welcome back. I had hoped you wouldn't need to come see me again so soon. What can I do for you? Seems like wherever I go, it's always the same. Folks just never leave each other alone. Oh, I'm not much good in a fight with my bum leg. And my supplies are scarce, but I'll give you what I can spare. Well, I already told you I came from a vault. After that, I was a traveling doctor for a spell. It seemed like a good idea at the time. Most folks out here ain't educated, so people with medical know-how are hard to come by. I found that I could help a lot of people with what I knew, and that was all right with me. Eventually, I went back and married my childhood sweetheart, and that was the end of my traveling days. Didn't miss it none then. Still don't. I didn't see him or the men with him. You might ask around town, though. Could be someone saw which way they was headed. Your best bet would probably be Trudy, the bartender at the saloon up the road. If anyone saw anything, she'd know about it. Well, ain't we all, right? That was a long time ago. I don't pay it much mind anymore.
So after we double back to Ringo, let him know what's going on, Sonny comes, lets us know the Powder Gangers are here to play, and now the shootout ensues.
So what's going on? Did Sonny agree to help us? Well, I guess that means we're ready to go. Unless you think there's something else you can do. All right, I'm ready. I hope.
Time to look alive. The Powder Gangers are here to play. At least 6, Joe Cobb included. They look pretty mean. I'll be set up near the store. Let's hope that the gang doesn't manage to make it that far.
I owe you a huge favor for this. Here, these are technically Crimson Caravan funds, but I know they'll understand once I explain things. I did have what was left of the Crimson Caravan money, but I wasn't sure if it was my right to just give it away. I owe you more than that, though, so look me up at the Crimson Caravan camp up in New Vegas if you ever visit.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we gain a negative reputation, and we learn about the reputation system with this quest. The Powder Gangers hate us. Good Springs, we got a pretty decent, solid reputation with them. We could get things for cheaper prices. Now I'm gonna go and break this all down, or at least certain aspects, like with Joe Cobb and everyone else, and why the title is the way it's titled. First off, I want to kiss the intro's ass by saying this is probably hands down, in my own opinion, one of the greatest or one of the best intros or starting areas in a Fallout game, at least to me. I really liked the music and the score that plays, that really eerie cowboy-esque theme that played in the background. I hope that eared you guys out every time I go through that and that particular track plays. It's very eerie for whatever reason because it sets you up to understand what type of world that you're in, and that's pretty sweet. And, you know, the reason I called this, you know, Goodsprings and the evil that rolled into town, because first of all, Joe Cobb is a really evil person. I mean, first, like I mentioned when I talked about, or, you know, after I got done talking about him, he wants to get rid of the town, and I get it, he wants to survive. You know, this world's about survival, right? People doing whatever they can to survive, and that also goes for doing horrible things, seems. But the problem is he wants to pretty much commit a open and a public shooting and kill everybody there in order to survive and to quote-unquote make a point. You know, because Ringo didn't pay the toll, which, you know, whatever. It goes to show you this world in this game is fucked up. Okay, it goes to show you, like, the voice actor, to me at least, they hired for Joe Cobb conveyed the vibe I got from the character and the way it was conveyed to me was that this person's an angry person who wants to take that anger out on the entire world. And that's why I find it hard for a morally gray, and even to some extent evil, but a morally gray character to side with this, because the main task is to pretty much kill the person, because you kill Ringo first if you side with the Powder Gangers, and then they end up taking over the entire fucking town, like by killing every single person there, and they take it for their own territory, which again, I believe you could say, and that's a survival thing, you know, it's for survival, but the way that he goes about it is just really nonchalant. Like, as soon as your character brings up, well, I'll help you shoot up the town, he's all for it. That's evil. What did the people in Goodsprings do? You know, I really like the setup to the world that you're walking yourself into, so that's awesome. So that's Goodsprings, everybody. I hope you enjoyed your stay, and I sure as fuck do every time I start up a new character in New Vegas, or pretty much any of the Fallout games, but I enjoy the town in this particular game that it starts you in quite a lot. I always end up completing this quest line. It's a must, in my own opinion. Again, you don't have to do it, but I digress. That's Goodsprings. Be safe out there in the wasteland. That's me, Sacred G. Thank you all for watching and or listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace the fuck out.